Germany finally made a move that overstepped their boundaries far enough that they could no longer be ignored. The official beginning of World War II was September 1st, 1939, when Germany invaded Poland. The Germans used Blitzkrieg, or lightning war, that's how it's translated out of German, to fight against the Poles. It was so effective that the Poles were only able to hold off the Germans for 1 month. Now, the German Blitzkrieg, they attacked with such violent force and quickness that they were like lightning. They blitzed their opponent. They showed their military strength to Poland and the rest of the world with their lightning war. Their attack, very, very strategic plan. It included taking the enemy by surprise with new technology and bombing military bases, airfields, and cities. This was to soften the targets. They then would send tanks in to spread terror and to destroy. Now, similar to events leading up to World War I, the alliance system went into effect with Germany's invasion of Poland. Japan had invaded China in 1937. France and Great Britain, also referred to as just Britain, declared war on Germany on September 3rd, 1939, in response to a neutral Poland being attacked. Yet the Soviet Union remained neutral. Unknown to many, including Britain and France, the USSR had signed a non-aggression pact with Germany, so they remained neutral or non-aligned for the time being. Now, Hitler's main goal was world domination. He wanted to control the world and establish a huge empire. So he invaded the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Norway, Denmark, and France. But then he made a mistake. Hitler became greedy, and he opened a two-front war. One in the West, against countries such as France, and one in the East, because he turned and started to invade into territories held by the Soviet Union. This eventually results in the Soviet Union getting involved, and some could say that was the end of World War II for the Germans. But not quite. Germany is still fighting. Hitler believed that Jewish bankers from England, in cahoots with arms salesmen, were responsible for World War I. Therefore, Great Britain became a favorite target for this reason and for more. Britain's navy was superior, so Germany knew that they could not attack by sea. Instead, the Germans resorted to Air Force bombings. Approximately 200 German bombers pounded London for 2 months. 2 months of this. British radar, however, saved the day. The Battle of Britain saved Great Britain from defeat and possible Nazi domination. The battle was fought primarily in the skies using that radar. It was over Britain and the English Channel. Nearly 500 RAF, or Royal Air Force, pilots were killed. The Royal Air Force, the British forces, lost 915 fighter planes. The German force, which was known as the Luftwaffe, lost 1,733 aircraft. Watch this video clip for a brief glimpse of the Battle of Britain.
Hitler offered to spare England if they recognized his conquest as legitimate. When Britain refused, Germany devised a massive invasion, codenamed Operation Sea Lion. To gain air superiority, Hitler initiated an 8-month assault known as the Battle of Britain, ravaging London and many other cities and towns.
The period between September and November 1940 has been referred to as the Great Fire of London. On one night, 1,500 fires were started by German bombs. London took a pounding such as the world had never known. Nazi bombs could raise her buildings, but nothing could trample her spirit.
It was an enormously important moment, I think, of sense of solidarity for the British people. And really, it was unique to the Second World War because we'd never had the kind of mass air warfare before that we get during the Second World War. That's what makes this happen, and that's what makes this war so different in those respects. But a real sense of pulling together, a real sense of solidarity that was fostered by the government, that was fostered by newspapers, that was symbolised and characterised by the figure of Winston Churchill, who becomes, in a sense, for the public at large, a sense of the voice of the nation, an enormously important figure.
All during London's great trial, he was constantly on the scene, encouraging the living, honouring the dead. 30,000 Londoners lost their lives, but never did they think of defeat. They took every Nazi bomb with calm courage and shook a fist in defiance.
The Royal Air Force pilots, aided by the newly developed radar, rose to the occasion and fought valiantly, fending off the superior force of the Luftwaffe.
This is Edward Murrow speaking from London. There were more German planes over the coast of Britain today than at any time since the war began.
CBS radio correspondent Edward R. Murrow painted an ominous picture as the terror reigned on London. His reports contributed to a change in America's thinking. Only 6 months after Roper's famous poll, another survey revealed that 67.5% of the country now favored military assistance to England.